There's no straight path. It's definitely squiggly, diagonal, squishy, but there's one truth, and that is wherever you are, show up to get the job done, know the job, make the main thing the main thing, and the rest, I promise you, will build an incredible reputation and it will open doors for you that you didn't even know you wanted to knock on.
What does it look like when a leader over-delivers and gives others unexpected benefits, maybe even going 3 times, 4 times above and beyond? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Welcome to Women Leaders on the Move, a Her C-Suite radio podcast. I'm your host, Natalie Benamou, and every week I have the incredible honor of speaking with amazing leaders. I'm also the founder of Her C-Suite, a powerful network community offering women programs from mastermind leadership memberships to our newest Next to Lead AI. I hope you will check it all out at hercsuite.com. I met today's guest through the Women in EMBA program at Kellogg, and we became fast friends. Shontra Powell is a proven corporate executive leading global organizations through transformations, growth, and high-risk environments. You're going to hear all about the details of how she shows up and over-delivers time and time again because it has really served her well in advancing in her career. You're going to discover things that you can apply in the way that you approach situations and leadership. I cannot wait for you to hear this conversation. So let's get started now. Shontra, I'm so excited to welcome you to Women Leaders on the Move today.
Yes. You know what? It means I'm on the move to be invited.
I am so excited about this conversation because we met and it was like 30 seconds in. We were like, oh, we're friends. We need to spend time together. This is awesome. So, for our listeners who didn't have that conversation with you before, let's bring them up to speed. So, tell me a little bit about you and your journey because it's so interesting. And I think when people hear the arc of your career and where you're landed and where you're going, it's going to inspire many to feel, I like that. I want to go on that path.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. I think the first pivot was seeing myself beyond my home environment in the sense that, born and raised in Louisiana, educated all the way up through college, going to Loyola University of New Orleans, and having a thirst, a desire to understand more about New York City, and in particular, the finance industry, which really got me close to top Fortune companies that had a decision to own their own insurance portfolios, manage their risk, and then hire out some of the services. And so I found myself in that spot. And so here I was. Career in insurance risk brought me to New York City, Wall Street, working in Cigna's financial entity, being very eager and driven to continue to learn, found me working on a very large business development opportunity for the company, which found me then encouraged to move into the brokerage space in the industry. And then that, working hard and showing up and putting forth that drive and determination to be successful in whatever the initiative was, won me a secondment in the UK, working with the UK director for one of the larger insurance risk firms in the world at that time. Being in the right place at the right time, again, won me a great opportunity to know who I knew and to be in a position to give a yes to GE to assume a strategic role just prior to Y2K. Had a great opportunity to bring a great solution to GE. And I would say that just really was the arc that took me to a more strategic path. And so I worked in mergers and acquisitions at GE. I also worked in operations leadership and then would go on to other Fortune 100 companies to do similar and the same. At this point now, fast forward, I'm with Hubbell Incorporated. We're in the utility and the electrical space. That's where I am right now today. And there's a whole lot more arc in there.
Yeah. Well, as you're saying all this, there's a through line of being strategic about who you're connecting with and going forward. When did you decide to get intentional, and how did that serve you in these different roles? Because you are definitely through that transition. There was definitely intentionality in seeking out opportunities, being known for what you were contributing, I'm sure, and not being afraid to say, you know what, I'd like to go and be considered for this, or I'm curious, or I want to learn more about M&A. I want to do M&A. What was some of those conversations like? Because I think people don't always understand. Part of it is just telling people that that's what you want to do. No one's reading our minds saying, "Oh, I knew that that's what you wanted to do, Shontra. That makes so much." It's like, well, did you? Because you didn't say it. So, what were some of the things that you did to make people know that that was what you were interested in?
Natalie, I wish that I could say from the very beginning it was an intention around what I thought the guidepost on the journey would look like. That would actually be not my story. My story would be really two key things: just a drive and determination to see more and to do more, and almost an unquenchable curiosity around any assignment that I was given. I would say in me was embedded this huge responsibility to show up prepared, to show up with the assignment plus three, and to show up ready to be exposed for whatever I had done the assignment on. Those were the qualities that were embedded in me. I think the unintended consequence for me was just showing up with those things, which is all the intention that I brought. Folks around me saw things even before I knew what they saw. So while it may sound like I was really sort of creating this pathway, not my story. I think for me, it was I'm focused on getting the main thing done. I am committed to the responsibility of being prepared and helping others be successful that are relying upon me, and to get the A myself because I was successful, right? That would unfold and bring to fruition new opportunities. And I'd be tapped for things before I would even know. I wouldn't have known to ask for that. I wasn't exposed to what does a global leader's career trajectory look like. So for me, it was a lot of go with the flow. I'm almost embarrassed to say, outside of seeking my first assignment coming out of college, I don't think there was much look for a job that I've ever really had to do. It was always taps and flows.
Hey, it's Natalie, and I wanted to pop in here and give you a personal invitation to our newest program, November 7th at noon Central. Join us for How Secure is Your AI? Next to Lead AI is our newest program, and you can join us. Check out the show notes, or you can go to hercsuite.com and get all the information. Now, let's get back to the show.
And so I might offer to anyone listening to this an old school formula, which is we live in a time where it's so easy to look at the bio, to look at the Instagram layout or any social media layout and say, yes, I want to follow that path. And of course, you can do that. But I think the thing that you give up is really big and very critical, and that's the journey. And it's now that I look back at some of the most mundane of experiences and realized it was all preparing me for the next door that was going to open up for me. And I think they opened up because I showed up to do the work, just the work that I was asked to do, and the rest happened. Now, I certainly don't want to take it off the hook that I didn't work hard and I was just given anything, because no, that did not happen. But it's because of the hard work, because of the commitment to deliver something that was beyond the expectation of the asker and adding a great value to the company in bringing forth new insights, new information, new ideas. All those things work together. And if there's one message that I could give to everybody sort of in this new economy of life, some old school could serve a lot of us.
I love that. There was this thing that you said about you would come with 3 instead of 1, and there's a famous quote. I'm gonna date myself, but Beachbody On Demand, Shanti, um, and there's this, video, and this cast member, he's talking to her, and she says, "Every time I think I can't do 1 more, I do 3." It was from Insanity. It was just like the hardest workout of all time because you're just like, "Oh my god, I can't get through this." So, although you said that you weren't, maybe planning strategically, you were because you were showing up, not just showing up and doing the work, but you were doing the work and then some. And so you were getting visibility across the organization for your work that you were doing and delivering and the results and the M&A success. Well, that's a high visibility thing. And all those things that you're sharing are all key things that boards look for, which is how we first came together was from a board program. So I'd like to shift a little bit into that because everything you're talking about, managing P&L, knowing finance, M&A, it's all like a dream for trying to decide, well, which committee would I even have you be on? Because you could be on all these different. So how is your board journey? Let's talk about that and your interests and where you're going and all of the things.
Early in my career, another great thing happened. Not only was I working in the building, but I was also working outside of the building and community. And United Way of New York City had a program back then. It was a board ready program where folks would be nominated, early career, highly motivated, driven, and well respected younger folks were invited to go through a training process. And part of the process was when you come out, there'll be a slate of boards that you have the opportunity to be introduced to, and potentially a match would be made, and you would have your first board experience. And so from 1998 on, board service continually was something that I've done in a nonprofit sense. So fast forward then, my most recent board, serving in a public university board, large, successful university here in South Florida, on their finance committee, and most recently on the executive leadership team as the chair of finance. Fantastic. When there was a time where I would have said there's no way that I would have been chair of a fine committee. What I know is all those things come together there, right? All of the things really kind of meet, the compliance portions meet right there at fine committee. So for me now with intentionality, I'm seeking increased board understanding and opportunities. Hopefully I'm on the cusp of a corporate board. I've been at I've had the wonderful opportunity to participate in one search, and in the process of another search at the moment. But I believe that all of the things that I've worked on and my unique offers will come together, and the right fit will be the right fit.
If you have one thing that you can advise to our listeners about taking and transferring, because you have done that with your experience. If someone's listening and thinking, I don't know if I can get on a board or, where should I start? What does it look like? How do I translate that over? What what's one thing, and I'm going to say she because most of the listeners are women, but I'm sure there's men, so that's okay. You can do this too. What would be one first step that she could take?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And I'm going to start with something that you brought out in a call that I was recently attending. Answer the question why. And then once you're clear on why you want to do this, answer the question, when someone thinks about your unique offers and contributions to most of the things that you've had a huge impact on, what would they say was your lane of impact? And that's a hard question to answer because most of the women that will be thinking about that question, similar to me, have a very broad base of offers that they've worked hard and they've delivered. But I had to appreciate the theme for me was a keen sense of strategy. What set me apart, whether it was M&A, whether it was P&L, operations, commercial, was an ability to take disparate bits of information, understand them, and to articulate a clear way forward. And the best wrapping that I can put around that is strategy, right? So for me, I know it's boards that are going through transformation, boards that are going through periods of and desire for commercial growth. Those are the ones that really need that rooting in strategy, and that's where I'm a fit, right? Same thing for our she that's listening, right? What would you say it is if you lay it all out, lay all the marbles out? What's the thing? What's the thing? Because I find sometimes people say, "Okay, well what kind of board would you like to be on?" Right? Would you like to be on, a retail, a wholesale, this or that? And I found myself saying, if I looked at all of the SIC codes in the world and started to cipher through them to come up with, well, this is the exact type board I'd like to be on. One, I'd be exhausted. And two, I would be uninterested, right? So rather than overthinking that, I think for us to stay prepared, it's being clear on who we are and what we offer and why it's important. And I think if she does that, she will be right there with me. Who knows? Maybe we'll be on the same board.
I love it. So good. And such a clear, here's the things, right? These two things, if you think about those two things, and that's a life lesson. It's not just for boards, but I think it was beautifully said. I could talk to you all day, my friend. It's so hard to end these conversations. If people want to know more about you, where should they go to find you?
Absolutely. So thank you. I am definitely one of those folks. LinkedIn is a wonderful tool for me right now. So certainly reach out on LinkedIn, Shontra Powell. I host a podcast where I have the privilege of sharing things that I've learned and also hosting folks such as Natalie, who have also mastered the game in their lanes, and they generously have a conversation with me that we share with the world, and that's Proven Not Perfect. So find me at www.provennotperfect.com on all of the socials, Shontra Powell or Proven Not Perfect. You're going to find me, and I hope you do. Certainly, if you need someone on your board, definitely ring me up. But if you just need to hear a good kiki, a great conversation, whether you're starting your career and you want to hear the aunties share with you what really happened, or you've been in your career for a while and you want to laugh as you hear your peers in crime say, yeah, been there, done that, right? So both of those are true.
Thank you so much for the honor and pleasure and just enjoyable conversation today. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you for what you're doing for all of us. We appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Thank you for spending your time with Chandra and me today. I'm sure you walked away with so many ideas and feeling fierce about your own career. I hope that if you do, you'll share it with a friend or colleague so she can feel the energy as well. I really am grateful to Chandra for having me on her show. The two shows combined will give you insights into both of the ways that we view our careers. If this show is something that you enjoy, will you rate and review the show? It really does make a huge difference. I am so grateful to you listening to this show every week. And we have listeners from all over the world, 26 countries. I appreciate all of you. I know that a lot of the things we talk about are focused in North America, but I appreciate all of you all around the world. Thanks for being with us today, and keep shining your light bright. The world needs you.